Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at Etrailer. Today we have the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus. Right now we have the configuration with the tailgate connector, but this is available with or without that, and you can also get rooms to fit inside for your different adventure. So let's take a look at how it all works. So why would you be interested in the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus? Well, this is a pretty interesting design from Let's Go Aero. This can be used as a standalone shelter, or you can use this with your vehicles or campers. This specific one is designed or works best with your smaller SUVs, your trucks without camper shells, or your smaller campers. If you want something that's a little larger for larger trucks or larger cars, you may want to check out the Let's Go Aero MoonUnit, which is like this but a little bit larger. Compared to awnings that attach to your vehicle, this is going to give you more coverage and more shade at a lower cost. Because usually when you attach an awning, you also have to purchase separately walls or rooms that give you that coverage. With the ArcHaus at an entry-level price, you're able to attach this to your vehicle, and you also have this support base that gives you a lot of room. In fact, I've seen a lot of people use this for, let's say they have a motorcycle. This is where they would park their motorcycle out of the elements. This is where they would set up their tent or their camping chairs. This makes for a bit more of a versatile use because it's really just a large space behind your car. As for how much space you get with this is going to be about 6 feet wide with adjustability side to side and 6.5 feet tall. You are going to have 10 feet of length on the inside. If you do have it attached to your vehicle or your camper like what we have here, you may lose a little bit of that space, but on the other hand, this is now space or area that is shaded and protected from the elements. It's pretty much a walk-in and walk-out enclosure. The tent fabric is going to be a very green but also water resistant fabric. This is only available in this bright green color. If you're not the biggest fan of it, you may want to check out the MoonUnit, which is available in a more white color. But the fabric this uses is going to be a 185 denier polyester fabric, very similar to what you'll see on tents and lightweight awnings. This does have a polyurethane coating, giving it its waterproof rating. However, it's not fully waterproof, meaning if a light rain shower comes down, that's fine. It will prevent water from coming down and will just bead out on the outside. However, if you have objects pushed up against the tent, it may draw that moisture in. Since it has no floor, it really is more of an enclosure and not so much a tent. So if it does rain a lot during the night, or if you're concerned about critters crawling around, you are going to have to consider either figuring out if you want to put your tent on the inside or put some layers on the ground to give you some more cushion and separation, because water and other objects might still come in from the sides or from around the enclosure. As for the tailgate connector though, and even though it's called a tailgate connector, this can work with your hatches, with your doors, even with your little camper here. That is a really good fit between both the ArcHaus and the vehicle. This utilizes straps as well as elastic and some clever layers to make a virtually sealed interior. Not completely, but pretty close to it, where I would be comfortable camping in here at night knowing that a branch is not going to fly through into the enclosure. Now, I've worked with a lot of tents and awnings, and you can see a bunch of them here on our website, but I've also used them in different scenarios out in the woods or on a mountain. So I have a lot of opinions when it comes to the construction as well as the material of an awning or a tent. And right off the bat, the ArcHaus is definitely going to be one of your more entry-level enclosures. You will see that in the material that is used. Yes, it is coated to be more waterproof, but it is on the warmer side. and it doesn't really provide as much airflow. So my tips for you when using this is, if it's an especially windy day, just go ahead and take off those doors, and that will give you more airflow through the enclosure. Also, we do have a mesh in the front, and that's gonna help keep that air moving while keeping the bugs out. Awesome, except that as I was setting this up, that mesh tends to catch and then it tends to run. So when that happens, you're not gonna have the same type of protection from those critters and bugs as you had in the beginning. I also started noticing some fraying, especially along areas that have contact with either the vehicle or the ground. Your experience will be better if you use this on turf or grass or somewhere where you can stake everything down and not concrete. But if you're planning on tailgating at the park or in a parking lot, this is gonna be inevitable. So it'll still work, but there's just some things to keep an eye out for. Some other tips from me to you to make sure that you get the most out of your ArcHaus is definitely utilize the stakes that are included with your shelter. You're gonna get two types of stakes, a heavy duty one for extremely windy conditions, as well as a light duty one, which honestly I would not use. I always use the heavier ones, and I also use the included guy lines that are with the tent. Something that's not included but I recommend grabbing from here at Etrailer is the Coughlin's tent peg mallet. It's a good lightweight mallet with a stake puller that will be very helpful when you're out at the campsite. And if you do not have turf or grass or anything soft to push into, you can also utilize heavy items like the ball mount you use to pull your trailer, or even some sandbags. Now what I did to get it all set up is that I took it out of that bag, just double check to make sure that all your parts are there and in place, and then you're going to set up the frame. So that's going to have the frame bars as well as the straps that give it tension. And then you're going to get your two long poles, and that will secure up and over and into those bars. Now technically this is when you start putting the fabric up, but I recommend putting the side struts on first, just because that will then create your frame. And since it was a very windy day, I had a friend help me out with lifting the fabric up and over all that frame. Adding to that, I also unzipped the doors so that it wouldn't catch wind and fly away. And then I secured the corners of the frame into the pocket of the fabric, and then I tightened those corners down with the bungee ring and hook. I buckled the bottom sides, and then I clipped the black tailgate connector to the ArcHaus. Then I fit the elastic over the door of our little camper. I secure that connector with buckles to the roof rack. And finally, I finish it all off by staking the ArcHaus down wherever I could. My final thoughts about the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus is that it is a clever idea, which is a lot of Let's Go Aero products. They like to make niche and unique products that answer a need, but in a very specific way. So if you're looking for a large enclosed shelter, this is going to be a great option. It's a very universal fit shelter, and it does take some time to set up, but it's a great way to keep things protected. Now, its downsides are really going to be that it does feel like an entry-level structure with just the material and how that fabric feels like. So something that I would suggest as an alternative option is the Kelty Backroads awning. That is also a universal fit awning. It can go over your teardrop camper, it can go over onto a car, off the tailgate, things like that. It works more as a large awning with sidewalls, like a tent, but similar to this, it doesn't have a floor. However, the Backroads awning is not modular, meaning you can't attach multiple pieces of that awning together to create a larger structure. The ArcHaus is very interesting once you get two of them with the adapter. So it really depends on what vehicle are you using. Is it going to be small enough where it makes sense with this, or do you need a larger MoonUnit? enclosure instead? Are you planning to expand it or extend it and use other items? And hopefully this video just helps show how this works, helps you use it to its best, and that gets you out onto your journeys, and that way you can have a great time. Right here, this was a look at the Let's Go Aero ArcHaus shelter, currently with the tailgate connector right here at etrailer.com. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.